Hello, 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 everyone. What is going on? James here, and today I am with Mr. Scott.
Hello.
So, myself and Scott will be looking at some of our favourite shows: SpongeBob, Avatar: Last Airbender, and Ed, and Eddy.
Yep. This is the first of, like we did with the movie podcast, this is going to be the TV show variant.
Yeah. So, first things first, SpongeBob.
Yep. So, old school SpongeBob, so seasons 1, 2, and 3 were fantastic. Even now, as a grown up, I can still find them funny and that. You know?
Yeah, they're insanely quotable, aren't they? Even to now, and
Yeah.
there's been like a crap ton of memes made out of them.
Yeah. Like it has like original SpongeBob has major staying power. Like everyone can quote something from the series.
Yeah. He, me, she, Wombo, the study of wombology. All that jazz, you know.
Great, SpongeBob.
Is mayonnaise an instrument? Sandy's a girl? You know, there's
Yeah,
some.
like there's tons of memes as well. Like you could probably get someone quote the entire series just off the memes.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, the movie was a fantastic place for the series to end. Sadly, it didn't end there though, and it's fallen into the same thing as The Simpsons, where it's a shell of itself now.
Yeah, it just goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. I mean,
Yeah,
are they stopping it for a while with this spin-off coming out or
I don't know, but funny enough, they actually released the new SpongeBob movie, which was literally just to advertise the new spin-off.
oh
Yeah,
man.
I think it was like Sponge on the Run, and it was literally just to advertise Camp Coral.
Oh man. The thing is, right, that spin-off totally destroys one of the show's episodes because Sandy moved to the bottom of the sea and met
Yeah,
SpongeBob.
like it
She didn't know
destroys
him
the
when she was a kid.
continuity
Yeah, so it
of the
just looks
series.
stupid. It just looks absolutely stupid. I just don't get it. They
You,
shouldn't
you
have
can
her in the
tell they're
show.
struggling for ideas to keep it going because like SpongeBob and Nickelodeon's main cash cow. It gives them the most money, so of course they're gonna try and think of whatever they can to keep it going, even if it destroys continuity of the show previously.
Yeah,
Hell,
but
even the creator of SpongeBob didn't even want there to be any spin-offs, I
yeah,
believe.
yeah, that's right, man. Because he never wanted them, and even he's passed away sadly a few years ago. But they're still doing this anyway, and it's totally disrespectful.
Yeah, it really is. Like, to me personally, my headcanon is SpongeBob ended after the first few seasons and the movie. I
Yeah.
I don't really acknowledge the series after that.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man, because it ends absolutely just chef's kiss. It's just a
Yeah, the
perfecto
movie's like the
ending.
perfect ending for SpongeBob.
Yeah, I mean, he's a workaholic. He's obsessed with work, and he's
Yeah,
really,
he's
really
also
happy to be
Krusty
the
Krab,
manager. Yeah,
probably more than Mr. Krabs does.
yeah, which is really, he's just a mad workaholic. He's just a simple man or kid, teenager who,
Yeah, I
just
think the idea is SpongeBob's supposed to be an adult, but he's
yeah,
you can honestly make a thing of SpongeBob having a mental illness of like that's why he still acts like a child. But
that'd be, yeah. There's a lot of
that
theories
could
on
just be
kid
me
shows.
theorizing because there are actually some adults out there who do act like children. It's normally due to a mental disorder that causes them to not mature properly.
That's a damn shame.
Yeah, like
What, even when they're old?
yeah.
Oh.
An example of this is funny enough autism. If you know much about that. Um,
Um,
autism, one of the main things of that is it causes your brain to not mature properly to some degree. And before
okay.
anyone in the comments gets on my case about saying this, I myself am autistic. So, like, don't go getting on my case like, oh no, like, that's not it. I'm just putting that one out there now because I feel like there's going to be someone in the comments who's going to, like, because I mentioned autism, is going to, like, get a go at me for saying it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but I myself am autistic, and I work at a youth club for autistic kids. And yeah, like one of the aspects of autism is your brain doesn't mature properly. And based on how low on the spectrum you fall, the younger you seem to act and like mentally. To the point where like really low functioning autistic people are literally babies trapped in an adult's body. They can't do anything for themselves.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, with a lot of autistic people I know, including you don't. Obviously, there's certain signs that you can tell. All right, maybe this person does have a autism, maybe they don't. But some people, I'm just like shocked that they have autism. I'm like, what?
Yeah, like
I
I
just
fall on
can't
the
believe it.
higher end of the spectrum, so it's harder to notice with me. But there are
Yeah,
some normal tells, like autistic people are easily distracted by flashing lights and
yeah,
movements. They also really dislike loud noises.
yeah. I suppose you just have to pay really close attention to
Yeah,
people
it
and
comes down
spend a
to
lot of
visual
time.
cues. Yeah, if they're on the higher end of the spectrum, it's down to visual cues
Hmm.
because you won't be able to tell otherwise
Yeah.
until one of those cues happens.
One dude I know who's autistic, he's just an utter genius, man, and you wouldn't be able, like,
Yeah,
you would not be able to tell it all unless he told
well,
you.
that's another thing about autistic people is they actually do tend to be a lot smarter than normal. It's just they don't always have they don't have the social ability.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah,
this dude is like, he has the social, he doesn't mind loud noises. It's just, it's shocking, but I suppose maybe there's some minor things that only people insanely close to him can notice.
yeah. Well, it's one of those. He's probably on the very high end of the spectrum then,
Yeah, yeah,
so it doesn't show the bad sides as much. It's
yeah.
one
There
of those.
was,
You get these effects when you're autistic, but the lower on the spectrum you fall, the more like the bad sides kick in as well.
yeah. I mean, there was one time when he flipped out. Then there's been a couple of times when he like flipped out over pretty much nothing. Not massively, but he's like, "No, this is not blah 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 blah." And like
Yeah, that that
it was
that's
over
yeah.
nothing.
I believe that's what me at the people the youth club refer to as a kickoff.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
but he
happen.
yeah, but he only had like two of them and normal. Well, not normal, but people who aren't on the spec. Well, even though everyone's technically on the spectrum, people who aren't on the autistic spectrum, they probably have quite a few of them. Like
Yeah,
anyone can have them, so it is what it is.
yeah, it's more prominent in autistic people because again, it also comes down to upbringing. If like you don't bring them up properly, they're more likely to kick off at minimal, at like really uh, like minimal things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was only a one-off with him, but I get what you mean. Some people just kick off at minimal things, so
Yeah,
on the regular. But
yeah,
anyway, back to SpongeBob. So he could have those problems. Maybe that was what was in mind for his character, or it
yeah,
possibly, or what most of it would be is that kids can't relate really to an adult character as the main character because the show is primarily for children.
yeah,
So they're going to make him a bit childish.
yeah. But that childishness also comes to its like charm of it, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. How he has a really positive view at the world and a very naive view. Not naive in a negative way, in a positive way, as I said.
Yeah, he hasn't turned into a Squidward yet.
Yeah, he.
Like the way I like to look at it is Squidward represents that side of adulthood where you've kind of just been beaten down by life. While
Yeah.
SpongeBob represents that you just turned into an adult, so everything is great.
Yeah, I
That's the way I
mean,
like to look at it.
you do really feel for Squidward, but like certain things, like with Squilliam Fancy Son, Squidward. I know it's part of his character, and it'd be boring if he realised it. But people have to realise that there are some people who are total, utter bullshitters, and Squilliam is bloody one of them.
Oh
He's a
yeah,
total bloody liar. His life is nowhere near as good as he makes it out to be. If it was, he wouldn't need to gloat. Imagine phoning someone from high school. My life's going brilliantly.
yeah. William is one of those people. It's like he's successful, but he has to show it off because he. I'm assuming William hasn't got much like self confidence in himself. The
Yeah,
fact
yeah.
that he constantly has to show off how much better his life is than everyone else's.
Yeah, it's very lame, has to be fair, because as you said, not much confidence. He's probably very insecure.
Yeah.
He's just a strange bloke, really. I mean, imagine challenging someone to high school to perform at the Bubble Bowl and then get wrecked by a bunch of amateurs who haven't even played any music in band
Yeah, so
gigs.
the main reason they managed to pull that off was because SpongeBob giving his weird speech.
Yeah. When he's like, imagine if Squidward was that firefighter or that
Yeah,
doctor.
like somehow that speech worked. That's what's great about it.
It
Yeah,
was brilliant.
to be fair, as bad as you can feel for Squidward, he does do it a bit to himself, as shown by anytime he gets any little bit of success, it goes to his head.
Yeah. Yeah. Just it does really. And he seems like a bit of a addictive person, because remember when he's like, I don't like Krabby Patties, and then he's like, I love Krabby Patties, and then he gets thick and blows up.
Yeah, I remember that. That's also probably one of the best meme faces comes from like SpongeBob's smile to Squidward when he realized he likes Krabby Patties.
Yeah, some of
If you
the
know the one.
yeah, some of the stills in the episodes are very good, like when they zoom in on SpongeBob's face, Patrick's face, and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Does this look unsure to you?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you can't beat old school SpongeBob.
Yeah,
You really
man.
can't.
So we've talked.
It's definitely one of the best shows.
Yeah, so we talked about Squidward and SpongeBob. Now on to your boy,
So,
Pat Star.
yeah, so Patrick Star, I think he represents that side of like he's a person who refused to grow up and doesn't really have any skills. So he's very childish as well, even more than SpongeBob is.
Yeah, but he's more of a selfish asshole.
Yeah, he's more selfish. Like, funny enough, he like the original like series, he wasn't as bad as he got afterwards.
Yeah, he got really
Like,
stupid.
as the series went on, they made him dumber and made him more selfish.
He must have took a head injury in the film or something
I mean,
that we didn't notice.
Regularly, it's like like there's a lot of times we see Patrick get like nailed in the face by something.
Yeah, so maybe let's just take it as the head canon, not shit right in that he got an injury and we've got to be sympathetic towards him to a degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just a stupid guy, isn't he? But he's absolutely, utterly hilarious. He's great to have around in the show. He just does nothing. He's insanely lazy. I know a lot of people hate this episode, and I get why. But you know the episode when Patrick's parents come in, and then
Oh yeah.
like,
To be fair, Patrick is needlessly mean in that episode.
true, but it's still quite funny, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a little funny. But at the same time, it's one of those SpongeBob is supposed to be his best friend, and yet he is being needlessly cruel in that episode to
Yeah,
impress people who aren't even his actual parents.
yeah. It's definitely
You know, worse. Like, I don't know if you've seen this episode, but this one's even worse. The one where Patrick's sister comes to visit.
yeah, that was a newer one, wasn't it? That wasn't in the old series.
That's what, like, Pat like let his sister get away with doing all sorts of bad things to everyone, and even admits that he knew all along she was doing bad stuff and just didn't give a shit.
Yeah. That's
Because-
really strange.
Yeah, because like for most of the episode, he plays it off like he doesn't realize she's doing bad stuff until SpongeBob confronts him on it, and he admits he knew all along and just didn't care.
But yeah, I think that's enough said about Patrick. Now on to Big Man Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs is your stereotypical like greedy, money hungry, like cheapskate, but at the same time, he is funny.
He is absolutely
It
utterly
also
hilarious.
does show a bit of care for SpongeBob, whether it's because SpongeBob makes him money or not, by looking at the Bubble Bass episode.
Yeah. And I mean, he does have a laugh with them sometimes, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's not like he's devoid of banter, like in the
It's not like he's a
episode.
person completely devoid of like caring.
Yeah, in the
Granted,
R
he
episode.
does kind of become that in the later series.
Yeah.
But
And in the episode when he like wants to be young again, he's quite banterous in that one. They have a good laugh with each
yeah,
other.
he goes with them on the panty raid. And I love that. Like he goes with them on the panty raid, and they go to his mom's house.
Yeah, it's just some next level stuff.
Yeah. It's like, why didn't you tell me this is my mother's house? You never asked.
Who's next then? Sandy, or have you got more you want to say about Mr. Krabs?
So, I don't think there's much I can say about Mr. Krabs. Like, the way he speaks and his laugh has become a bit of a meme.
Top man.
SpongeBob, me boy. Like, there's a lot of memes where of him going SpongeBob, me boy, and then saying something really out there, and then just going
or something really dark.
Yeah, or something really fucking dark.
So I guess Sandy Cheeks then.
Yep. So first off, like that name is a bikini, joke.
Yeah, Sandy arsehole.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, fucking, like there's like the main town they live in is called Bikini Bottom.
Yeah.
So that's just something there. But yeah, Sandy's an interesting character. She's intelligent and is shown off to be kind of a badass at times.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, yeah. I don't know, like, it's a weird one. It's a weird one with Sandy. Like, she's not bad. I just don't know what to make of it all the time.
I mean, she's just in a few episodes. She's just sort of like, I think she's just an alternative for Squidward, for people to be like, oh, okay, this is the third wheel on the adventure now. Except Squidward's a lot better and can be the main focus of an episode with his character. Well, Sandy's just there for the ride, sort of.
Yeah, exactly. Like, granted, like Sandy is mostly also there just to save SpongeBob's ass when he fucks up.
True, yeah, because it wouldn't make sense if Squidward was insanely good at fighting and helping.
Yeah.
But who's left then? Plankton, Mrs. Puff, and maybe a quick one on Larry.
Mrs. Puff is mostly just for jokes about SpongeBob not being able to drive.
Yeah.
Plankton is your stereotypical bad guy just because, like, he wants to steal the formula. That's his gimmick.
Yeah.
And, yeah. They've honestly covered the main people of SpongeBob.
And Larry's just a buff laid back guy who's just like...
Larry is your stereotypical, like, beach person that is really buff, everyone loves, and is always working out.
Mm-hmm. I'd say, but yeah, on to some good episodes and what makes the show good. Band Geeks, Pizza Delivery.
Great episode.
Thing is, with all these episodes, they all have really simple plots, don't they? Like Pizza Delivery, deliver the pizza from the Krusty Krab to that house. Even though that house was right by the Krusty Krab. But,
I actually love the Pizza Delivery episode because of the ending.
Yeah. This one's on the house!
Yeah, like, that's one of my favorite bits that makes you like Squidward. Because despite how Squidward always, like, acts like SpongeBob is a nuisance and he hates him, that episode shows that he does have at least some care there for him. The fact that, like, because of what the guy said, like, the upset SpongeBob, like, Squidward went and dealt with that.
Yeah. But yeah, as I say, very simplistic plots. Chocolate delivery. All they're doing is taking chocolate to people's houses, but it's the interactions and how the characters react to things that make it funny, like chocolate!
Yeah, that.
And I love you. And then they get conned themselves. They
get conned like 3 times by the same guy.
Do you want some bags to put the chocolate in?
I've got skin of paper and bones of glass.
And at the end, they end up going on a double date with 2 old fogies, which is a pretty witty banter.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, main strength of SpongeBob, just simple plots and funny shit. You know, way the characters react, variety of characters.
If you like SpongeBob, you don't need a super like in-depth, like advanced plot.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
And that's the thing about a lot of old-time cartoons is you never needed a super big, like fancy plot to make them work.
No, you don't. But yeah, it just needs to be kept simple, as you say, and it's easier to follow if it's not all complex and mental.
Yeah. Well, with SpongeBob, because it was episodic, you didn't like have to worry about missing an episode and suddenly losing the plot of the show.
Yeah. There was a some I haven't seen in a lot of other TV shows. Like they have Patchy the Pirate in some episodes, and it's live action and all that jazz. And it's actually Tom Kenny, which is quite interesting.
Oh yeah, Patchy. Patchy's funny. Every like the pirate, like this pirate who's a SpongeBob nutcase.
Yeah, and you never really
of, like the secret episode and like when and like a big remember them. He goes this massive search for like the hidden episode of SpongeBob.
Yeah,
and he finds it. And the first scene is just like 30 seconds of SpongeBob walking weirdly, and then the episode ends and Patchy like this owns SpongeBob for a bit and says he's gonna run away, and then the actual special plays.
Yeah. Fair comment, man. I just want. Oh yeah. Quick shout out! Krusty Krab training video is one of the best and probably my personal favorite episode.
Yeah,
I just think it's hilarious.
Filled with like memes.
Yeah, it's just hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, not sure what else I can say about SpongeBob, really.
Yeah, I do want to quickly talk about it at its worst and the film, and then we can move on to the films.
The most recent seasons, the show has really gone downhill. There's still a few good episodes.
Oh, that's good then.
But a lot of it is not good. Like,
yeah, I mean, in certain seasons,
any like really bad episodes, just look up Babysitter Pat or the Splinter.
Oh yeah, that one was strange. That was just grotesque, unfunny, utter rubbish.
Yeah. Or look up the episode where Patrick is scaring Squidward to get him to squirt ink. Because that episode is just Squidward torture porn.
Yeah, I hate that sort of stuff. Just Squidward going through horrific shit for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful. Not funny.
Yeah, like I said, the more the seasons went on, the more Patrick just became an irredeemable asshole.
Pretty much, yeah. Probably the worst episode is that what's that one where Plankton tries to kill himself and just gives
that one, yeah. Is another one where Mr. Krabs is tormenting Plankton with Pearl because whales eat plankton?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that one's a really bad episode.
That's it at its weakest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Too mean-spirited, unfunny. Totally. I know Mr. Krabs is a bit of a tit, but he's a funny tit. In this, he's just a twat. And unfunny.
Yeah. Like, it's those episodes that really make, like, you can tell, like, that they start butchering everyone's character at that point.
Yeah. On to the film then. As Scott said earlier, great way to end it. What happens in it? King Neptune's crown gets stolen because Plankton goes for Plan Z to steal the Krusty Krab. So it's a really good nod at the show right there because he does a lot of things where he steals the Krusty Krab formula.
Yeah. So Plankton goes through a bunch of plans to get the formula, believing there's only, like, I think he believes there's only, like, I don't remember how many episodes of the alphabet. But he goes through all of his plans, and then Karen mentions Plan Z because Plankton says he's done every plan A to Y.
Yeah, and
then Plan Z is he steals Neptune's crown and frames it on Mr. Krabs, and then using that, he manages to get the formula and then take over Bikini Bottom, while SpongeBob goes on a journey to get the crown back. Yeah,
which honestly, it's a bit, looking back on it, is a bit surprising that Plankton, put buckets on people's heads and took over everyone's mind. You thought he'd just want to have the formula and be better than Mr. Krabs, but instead,
Plankton just became pure evil around that point.
Which I don't mind personally, right? Because he's meant to be the bad guy, and it's the movie, which was meant to be the finale, is meant to be higher stakes, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it would have been dead boring if he'd just been making crappy paddies, and so it would have been so crap. It wouldn't have raised the stakes at all.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Mr. Krabs doesn't pick SpongeBob as the manager, though. There's this big build-up of SpongeBob being the manager, and Patrick flies in naked, like, whoa!
Yeah, it's like, 3 cheers for SpongeBob!
No, he's not the manager. Oh, bro, that is just some next-level stuff.
Yeah, I remember that bit, like, where Mr. Krabs is talking to SpongeBob. It's like, I'm not the manager. The most embarrassing thing you ever seen. And it's even worse because I'm repeating everything you say into the microphone.
Yeah. But yeah, they go on a massive adventure, and Mindy puts a mustache on them, so they're like, "Nana women, da-na-da-na-na-na," and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And then Dennis comes in, and he's like, "These are fake," and then they're not men.
It's I thought you just had some celery on your lip from lunch.
And then Dennis gets squished by the giant boot. And then the dude comes and steals SpongeBob and Patrick for his aquarium or whatever it is. Shop.
Yeah, the shop owner who's the Cyclops.
Yeah. So that's when they're in that really masculine club. It's quite funny when they're just blowing bubbles and going, "Oh!"
Yeah, it's like, "Hey, who blew a bubble? You all know the rules. All bubble blowing babies will be beaten senseless by everyone in the bar."
This sounds like something else. This sounds like something a lot worse. Oh man.
Yeah. Then yeah, all SpongeBob for the movie really knew how to do it. Also, SpongeBob and Patrick get drunk at an ice cream bar.
Oh yeah, drowning their sorrows with the ice cream, and obviously that's meant to imply something a lot worse that they're drinking.
Oh yeah, like it's supposed to be like drinking your sorrows away, but because it's a kids film, they use ice cream instead.
Yeah. The bit when they do some real life stuff, which is quite cool. All the pirates are obsessed with SpongeBob. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I believe like that pirate's supposed to be Patchy as well. So the reason Neptune and Patchy look different in the movie is because they didn't have the rights to use the originals when they made the movie.
That's annoying.
Neptune in the movie looks different to the show, and same with Patchy.
I think that Neptune sort of suits the movie better than because the TV show one was really chilled out, and if someone stole his crown, he would have been like, "I don't care, I'll get a new one."
But that's why Neptune in the show and the movie looks different.
Yeah, but I think the movie one suits the tone of the movie a lot better.
Yeah, the movie one suits the movie better. Yeah,
the Patchy would have been better though. The original Patchy would have been way better because obviously he's a fanboy, so it would have made.
The movie Neptune seems more like the unstoppable force that the King of the Sea is supposed to be.
Yeah,
like he's massive. He's got a ton of power. Regular Neptune's like he's no bigger than Larry.
Yeah, pretty much. Larry could kick this guy's ass, but I suppose Neptune's got the trident, hasn't he? So.
Yeah.
But yeah, the film when they're drying out is quite amazing, and SpongeBob, he's like, "Wow, well, we did our best. We're all goofy goobers, yeah."
Yep.
And then it was quite a serious emotional moment, and then he cried, and then
their tears short circuit the lamp and cause the sprinklers to come on, which then rehydrates all of the fish life in the shop, and then they attack the shopkeeper,
which is awesome. They get his crown, and then
David Hasselhoff shows up and like swims them back to Bikini Bottom.
Yeah, he shoots him like he gets his pecs, and he's like, Pshoo! Which is quite banterous.
Yep.
Dennis comes back, but he gets his ass kicked by a boat, so it's all right.
Yeah. I feel like Dennis was a bit underused, considering the build-up he had up to that moment.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Because, like, up until Dennis showed up and, like, confronted them, he had this massive build up of him being like this really intimidating figure, and then both times he gets just like easily dealt with.
I guess he's just played for laughs, isn't he?
Yeah.
And yeah, the finale's great. When he's like, I am a bonehead and a knucklehead and blah 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 blah. That really spoke to me when I was a kid, and it's still quite cool now. It's like, I'm a goofy goober.
One of those like accept who you are deals.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, really. A good message for people, not just kids, people in general.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people out there who feel like they have to change for other people.
Yeah.
And stop being who they are.
Yeah. I mean, not everyone is going to be Tony Stark or Hugh Hefner or Batman. You know, as long as you're not negatively affecting people or being horrible, it's okay to be who you are.
Yeah. And also, it is a message that a lot of people nowadays need to fucking learn. It's like,
definitely, you get so many people who are they're all the same. You see these Snapchat. I just hear about this from friends. I don't like Snapchat for a lot of reasons.
I don't really use Snapchat.
But basically, Scott, on Snapchat, what a lot of it consists of is just dudes taking a picture of himself, saying, I'm off to do this with X amount, with loads of people today, and then taking a picture of their car, sitting in their car, then driving their car at a ridiculous speed. That's what most of it consists of, which they try to hide that they do mundane, boring things like everyone else, which isn't healthy, really, because little kids could see that and think, I want to grow up to be just like them because they're showing snippets of their life that look really cool.
Yeah, that's just what it is, I guess. There are, like I said, there's a lot of people out there who feel like they have to change for other people. It's like, you don't. Like, you really don't. Like, it's a message that a lot of people do need to learn nowadays, that you don't have to change for other people.
Yeah. Like a wise person once said, you do you, boo. That's what, just be yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and SpongeBob succeeds doing so. He destroys, even though it's a bit unrealistic and mental, how is he going to take on a load of bucket heads? He destroys them with the guitar, with an amazing song. Plankton gets beat. SpongeBob gets appreciation for all his hard work and becomes manager. But it's so cool at the end because, right, this is the whole vibe of the whole first 3 series. Squidward says, you finally learned that being manager isn't what you really wanted. And then he's like, are you kidding? This is the best day of my life! And then that's the end. That would have been such an amazing ending to the show. And I would have been like...
Yeah, like, I was just gonna tell you that your zipper was down. Manager, this is the best day of my life. Yeah. It's like, yes, that is classic SpongeBob vibe right there.
Yeah, that was just... obviously... there are a few weak things with the film, like there wasn't much of Squidward, Mr. Krabs, Sandy, etc., etc. But it wouldn't have
Patrick and SpongeBob, really.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have really made sense with the story to have too many people on a road trip, and it wouldn't have been as because they're best friends, so it makes sense that they're going on this life-threatening, dangerous quest.
Yeah.
So it would have been nice to see more of the other characters because I don't even think Mrs. Puff and what's his face, Larry, didn't even get a line, and Sandy only said like one thing. So would have been nice if they had more lines, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and whether you like it or don't like it, that wasn't the end. So I suppose we can't use that as a valid argument, saying, "Oh, it's the SpongeBob film, the climax, oh blah 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 blah, should have had more lines," even though it would have been good. But obviously, they made way more seasons, and it was definitely for worse, in my opinion. I'll give this show overall maybe a 5 or 6, because the problem is first 3 is a 10, but then there's so many seasons of absolute utter dog shit. And I think to myself, if I'm going to rate a whole show, I have to go back and watch the whole thing again, which obviously I'm not going to do, but you think of that in theory. So series 1 to 3, 10, but the whole thing a 5 because there's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
That's me personally. Obviously you can, what do you think? What's your rating?
Sorry. What am I rating again?
Just you can do it out of 10, out of 5 stars, out of 100. I don't mind. Whatever your rating system is, bro.
Oh, is this for the movie or for SpongeBob?
Oh, for everything.
Oh, I Okay, so SpongeBob is by no accounts a perfect show, but it's definitely still quality. So I honestly would probably give it an 8 out of 10,
Yeah,
maybe a 7.
that's a fair play. I totally respect that.
Yeah,
To be
because
fair.
it's not a perfect show by any means, but
Hmm.
it's still a good one.
Yeah, I mean, if you did want to rate the film, though, I personally say the film's like probably a 7 because it's nothing amazing, but it's a really good finale. Like if you look at other animated shows which have a film, there aren't really many as good as SpongeBob's. Really,
Yeah, not a lot of
second
shows have
film,
a good finale.
yeah.
SpongeBob does get that at least.
I mean, second film, thought that was just weird, and third film I haven't even watched,
I
thankfully.
haven't watched the third one. All I know is apparently it was just there to promote Camp Coral.
Very depressing. Yeah, SpongeBob, good laughs, great, amazing series 1 to 3. After that, a bit, and some good episodes, I guess, here and there.
Right, now on to the big one, I think.
Avatar, Last Airbender.
This show is easy one of the best shows ever made, even now.
Yeah,
Like I'm not even gonna hesitate on saying that one. SpongeBob, fucking Avatar: Last Airbender to me is one of the best shows ever made, and still is even this many years later. So, do you want to start?
of course, man. So I don't know about you, but I watched this as it came out on Nickelodeon, and I was hooked, man. I
Yeah,
was like, honestly, a part of me thought, as I grew up, I thought, oh man, it sucks that I wasn't born a bit earlier, so I could experience. Because when I watched SpongeBob for the first time, it was in 2004, before the film, a bit before the film came out. So I wasn't watching them as they was coming out new every week in 1999, 2000, and
yeah,
2002, or is it 1999, 2001, and 2002? I don't know, but
yeah, something
but
like that.
but I am very glad that I got to experience Avatar as it came out, because even as a kid, I was like absolutely blown away. I was so attached to the characters; they were so
It had brilliant
inspirational.
writing, good action, a good story. The characters were all memorable. Like Sokka was the comic relief, but he was actually funny.
Yeah,
Because normally a comic relief character, they try too hard. You know what I mean? With
yeah,
Sokka, it just was natural.
very natural. Whoever
And
they got
like
for voice acting was great.
the end, the last fight had a really good dynamic for Aang because Aang's a pacifist or tries to be, and yet he like is constantly confronted with this thing of he's gonna have to kill the Fire Lord.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes Ang has had to kill people. Like, what's that? Amro Chow. He just had to kill him because Chow was
Yeah,
not giving him a choice. Chow was just being an absolute straight up. See you next Tuesday. Ang had to end him. Sadly, well,
yeah,
not sadly. It was for me. He was a prick, but obviously Ang's morals. It was a bit of a
yeah.
shame
Because I
for
think
him.
Aang's a monk. Like
Yeah,
at the end of the day, he's like, and they're not violent people. Like they're
yeah.
pacifists.
I would have happily killed that guy because he was absolutely horrible and
Yeah.
nasty and a horrible man. Who
Also, Azula was like a really intimidating villain.
Oh yeah. I mean, Zuko was a good villain and Chow was a good villain for series 1, but
Yeah,
bloody hell, Azula was just a next level psychopath. She was a great antagonist, wasn't
yeah,
she?
indeed. Like I would honestly say that Azula was more intimidating than the actual Fire Lord.
Definitely, because she's a lunatic. The Fire Lord's just,
Yeah, I mean he's
I
a
want to.
psychopath as well.
Yeah,
He
he's like,
literally planned about genociding the Earth Kingdom to make a point.
yeah,
Also, I like how Ozai, the Fire Lord, they keep him in shadow for most of the series
which is well
up
cool.
until season 3 when he actually appears.
Hmm Azula's the best villain because the thing is, Ozai, right? He's sort of like Thanos, but not as good. Azula's not as good as Thanos, neither, but Ozai just sits there for ages and then comes at the end
Yeah.
of the show.
I mean, he's one of those. He's this imposing figure we know about throughout the whole series, but we never see him do anything until season 3, and even then, we rarely see him actually do anything.
Yeah, apart from the
Until,
amazing
the
fight.
final episode where we actually do see how powerful he is.
We do get some absolutely fantastic flashbacks of him, don't we? How he's just an absolute utter twonk. when he burned half of Zuko's face.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but yeah, no,
He's
yeah,
definitely the most cruel, but Azula's the most scary because, or she
Azula
is,
really unhinged,
yeah,
and and it's very clear that she's unhinged.
yeah. Because say if you're like in a situation with Ozai, you might be able to reason with him if you have a better hand. Like if you have £1,000,000 to give him, he'll probably accept it and leave you alone. But Azula, she just electrocute you and kill you and
Yeah,
take the
exactly.
£1,000,000.
I mean, look at her from yeah, the what is it? When she becomes the Fire Lord and Ozai becomes the Phoenix King, like Azula basically kicks most people, like banishes most people from her kingdom for the slightest infractions.
What a tit.
Yeah, but yeah, no, like Zuko's development is fucking great. Like
Yeah.
the ending of season 1 shows that Aang and Zuko are not that different.
Yeah, except Zuko.
Also, fucking Uncle Iroh. He's like one of the best characters, and not the best.
Yes. He, now, objectively right,
Yeah,
he's not the best. I'm very sorry. So personally, he's my favourite by a landslide, but objectively, he's not because sadly the voice actor passed away, so we don't get him in series 3. And I don't think it would do Zuko and Sokka justice to put him above them objectively. But subjectively, he's my personal favourite. I absolutely love the bloke.
I love Iroh because like you can tell like he's this like uncle who's trying to like steer his grandson in a good direction. And
Yeah,
like, some of the fucking speeches this guy has.
Yeah. Man, the goosebumps man thinking about his speeches when he's like, "What do you want?" You know, that was just amazing. What is important to you? You know, that was just. I know it looks stupid.
There's that in season 3 where Azula and her friends are asking Zuko what like who he's mad at, and his reply is, "I'm angry at myself."
Oh bloody hell! I forgot
I
that
didn't
bit.
even see that episode.
Is that when they're on the beach and Azula's really socially awkward?
Episode.
Okay.
Yeah, like Azula and her friends are like pushing Zuko in a way, like trying to get him to like admit who he's angry at, and he just like eventually like hits his point and just yells that he's angry at himself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good episodes in Avatar. Like Avatar has very few bad episodes.
Yeah.
It has the occasional one, but like it's still really good.
Do you rate the Ember Island players much? That's the one when they go and watch a performance of everything.
So, I found the episode a little entertaining, yes. And honestly, I do rank that one kind of high because it's a really good series recap without being a recap.
Yes.
And that's one of my reasons I rank that one so high is it's a recap for the series without actually being a recap. So anyone who like hasn't watched the series could just watch the episode and get the general idea of the series.
Yeah, man, because some people absolutely shit on it and think it's a bag of arse. But personally,
I can see where they're coming from with that decision, but it's one of those like I can see why people wouldn't like it, but I think it's it's not one of the best episodes, but
no, definitely not.
It's good for the fact that it's it can act as a recap without needing to recap, which is good for a series with an overarching story like Avatar.
Yeah, I mean, I see why people.
To the end.
What did you say? Sorry.
Especially when you're coming up to the ending, like
people
tune in on that day and hadn't seen the whole series, like what would then because that does happen a lot. Is people like will pick up a series on like the second last episode without actually watching the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, thing is, I get why people would subjectively not like it, but objectively they must acknowledge. Well, they don't have to because there is a bit of subjective nature when judging things. Still, there is a bit of your personal opinion, but how can you not somewhat understand why people, not you, but I mean people in general, like why people would rate this high, not high, but fairly high, because there's no other series which has done a recap like this. It's such a creative way to do a series recap. I can't think of any other show, because obviously most shows it's just last time on so-and-so, which makes sense, but no show has done it this creatively, and it's quite funny. how they represent everyone as an over the top load of rubbish.
Yeah, I love like Toph's one where it's like I see you with my voice, it just like screams.
And it's a fucking man. They didn't even realise it
The
was a
man
woman.
is like buffed as all hell.
Yeah, that was really witty banter.
I love how like Toph actually like loves that like that's her representation.
Yeah.
Also, Toph has a lot of like good jokes of like because she's blind.
Yeah. Like in the one episode when they're in the desert, she's like,
Yeah,
because obviously
there it is. Everyone looks like, at least
and everyone's like, whoa!
you can see it.
And she's like,
Yeah.
She was an amazing addition. She helped the show get a bit better. Fourth person to bounce off of, and she's got a totally different personality to everybody else.
That's one of the things I love about Avatar and its characters. Is like everyone feels unique and has their own character. None of them are copy and pasted.
Yeah. Even the side characters.
Yeah, even the side characters feel like their own. Also,
Boomy.
you remember the fucking like episode, like the full moon episode with the Bloodbender?
Oh, yeah. Isn't she like teaching Katara about how to control people's bodies and all that jazz?
Yeah,
and
she's teaching Katara how to be a bloodbender without Katara knowing it's a bloodbending.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you could just kill someone doing that in the Avatar universe. You could just go.
It's terrifying. Like that episode is creepy as fuck, but at the same time it's good because like the atmosphere throughout the whole thing puts you on edge.
You know, that didn't actually scare me at all when I was a kid, but can I tell you what did scare me loads? The episode when that woman's smiling all the time.
Oh,
that scared. That really made me struggle to sleep back in 2006.
I was scared something about a person who is always smiling that is off-putting.
Yeah. No, but like her smile was like, it's sort of like she's being forced to act like that.
Yeah,
and
that was really a thing to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because she was being forced to smile.
Yeah. And by the dude, do you know the dude with the ponytail and the mustache? I don't know his name. He was a decent villain.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Probably the weakest out of all of them, but still decent.
Yeah.
And the bloke who goes through the most tragedy in this show. I know we talked about him a little bit earlier. No, we didn't. It's the cabbages, man.
Oh,
my cabbages!
Like every other episode, his cabbages get destroyed.
Yeah, I feel sorry for him.
Yeah. Avatar, like words alone can't put in how good this show is.
Yeah, everything we say won't do it justice. It's like probably
if there's any show on this list I have to say you watch, it's Avatar. It's so good.
For me, it has to be somewhere in the top 5 objectively.
Easily.
Subjectively, it'd be a bit lower because there are things I personally like a bit more. But objectively, it might be 2 or 3. Really difficult one, to be fair. Because obviously, I don't know if I've told you before, but my number 1 is Only Fools and Horses, just because it's so funny and practical. Then number 2, it's between Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones. Objectively, they're so close because Breaking Bad had a really not weak, but sort of weak series 1 and 2. But Avatar is consistent all around. So I don't really. It's so close. It's so razor thin. Which one I'd put better? Which one I'd put further? Maybe draw at second. Number 3 would be Game of Thrones because series 7 and 8 weren't. Series 1 to 6 is like some of the best stuff ever, but 7 and 8 were a bit. Especially 8 was weak.
Yeah, I can respect that.
But
Avatar's definitely in my top 5 as well.
Respect.
I don't know what my number 1 is because I love a lot of these shows. But Avatar is one of the few shows I would actually give almost a 10 out of 10.
I give it a 10 just because they do things very, very well.
I would either give it a 9.5 or a 10.
Yeah.
It is easy still. As I said, it's one of the best shows.
100%, man.
Again, words alone can't do it justice. You have to watch it.
Yeah. So we've talked about Sokka, Iroh. Oh, but I want to talk a bit more about Iroh. It's cool how before he was never like an evil guy, but he sort of like this. Oh yes, the Fire Nation will take over absolutely everything. I'm on board.
Yeah.
He wasn't like oh, but he was like, yeah, let's let the Fire Nation dictate everything, but let's be nice. Let's treat people with respect.
Yeah. Also,
But-
like I feel like the loss of his son humbled him a
yes,
bit as well.
yes, that was the thing that made him turn from probably middle ground, because I don't want to say he's bad, because he probably just wanted to make peace around the world, while the other ones just wanted to dictate everything. But I'd say he was average before, but now he's a good guy. Well, since then he turned into a good
I
guy.
think it's because he was a general of the Fire Nation, and said he wanted to take down Ba Sing Se,
Yeah,
and then he lost his son, and that humbled him and made brought him back down to earth.
yeah, man, 1,000,000%. He made me cry twice, man. He gave me the most goosebumps I've ever felt in that speech to Zuko when Zuko was going to free.
He has a lot of really good wisdom.
Yeah,
Iroh does.
and then when he was saying to Zuko, no, when he was singing to his son's grave, that's probably the saddest scene.
Yeah, also like the line he said, like, "If only I could save you," at his son's grave.
Yeah, that was next level. When he was singing, that just had me. That really had me.
Yeah, Iroh is such a well-written character.
And even in Series 3, when Zuko's crying and he's crying, he's like, I was only afraid I'd lose you. And I think, man, you are a gem.
Like, I was never mad. I was afraid you lost your way.
You are a gem, Iroh. The world doesn't deserve you, man. The world
it's a shame his voice actor died before season 3, so they couldn't feature him much. It really is a shame. But
yeah, that's partly why I like Series 2 better, because Series 3 just had him in prison.
But again, like, what else could they have done? They
nothing. It was too hard.
Passed away, and they probably were looking for a replacement the entire season.
Can you believe the talent of that voice actor, though? Playing Iroh amazingly and being able to play an evil guy in Aku from Samurai Jack.
Oh, yeah, Aku is a great villain as well. He's really funny.
To play...
We'll cover Samurai Jack maybe on another stream. Yeah.
To play the best bloke ever who the world doesn't deserve, and then play an evil man who's too scared to fight a samurai and sends him to the future is quite amazing, I feel. It's quite a really amazing feat. Because some people, even great actors, are only usually good at playing bad guys or good guys. They struggle to play both.
Yeah. So the talent to be able to play both so fluently is something. But it's a talent that a lot of people don't respect nowadays.
Yeah, voice actors don't get enough credit, really.
Voice acting is really difficult.
Yeah.
Because, good voice actors are able to fluently make themselves sound like someone completely different.
Not only that, though, and act like them as well.
Yeah. Honestly, to a degree, I would give more credit to voice actors than normal actors. Because normal actors act, you don't have to change your voice or anything. You do
sometimes
yourself.
No, but sometimes, like Cillian Murphy's changing his voice all the time.
Oh yeah,
Peaky Blinders, he speaks.
You can do it.
Yeah,
I mean, there are a lot of good actors who they just kind of play themselves.
Yeah, and the thing is, it doesn't take a lot to do an American accent or a different accent, like, oh, how's it going, guys? What's going on? Blah 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 blah. That's not the best American accent, but my point is, someone like Cillian Murphy, if he's doing an English accent, like in Peaky Blinders, he does a black country accent. He doesn't just do a normal British accent, which you've really got to write that. Like Christian Bale, he did a black country accent when he had to, a West Midlands accent when he, when he was in Le Mans 66. And if you do an American voice, you do the American voice of what part of America that character is from, which is insanely hard to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think they both, I'm not trying to sit on the fence, but I think they both deserve their credit. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say live action actors deserve a tiny bit more credit, mainly because they have to go on the set. You have to see their emotions and how they act. While doing voice acting, it's just in a booth, and you do have to bring that character to life, but it's not like you have to. I can go like this, like pull a stupid face and do a serious voice, if that makes sense. But I get why you would say voice actors are slightly better, because there is a massive skill in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
So what other characters? We've Zuko, you know, we talked Aro. Zuko, he has an amazing redemption arc. At first, he's all bothered about my honor, restore my honor, my honor. I need to restore my honor. And it isn't even for his father, it's more for him, even though he wants to impress his father. He's more like he's doing it for him because he feels like he's lost his honor.
Yeah. Like, Zuko is really good. Katara acts like that mother to the group,
Yeah.
which is also a really good dynamic.
Yeah, when the group is falling apart, she's there to bring them back together.
Yeah. Toph is that rebellious child. Because think about it, Toph was babied most of her life because she was born blind.
Yeah.
Despite being the strongest earthbender.
But she rejects that nonsense, doesn't she? She's like, no, I'm doing my own shit.
Exactly.
Which is respectable.
Yeah.
The side characters are good. Jet's a bit generic, but he's sort of like don't let vengeance consume you too much. You know, don't go up because he basically uses things that have happened to him as an excuse to not get revenge only to. Well, I mean, it depends what happened to him. I can't remember. But he uses it as an excuse to do bad things like steal.
Yeah, though his death is pretty good.
Yeah, he redeems himself sort of, and then sadly he gets killed. But Zuki's really good as well. She's witty banter. Most of the side characters are all well written and pretty good. Yeah.
Even Zula's like gang of friends, like Lee, like the two people Zula has with her, even they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're that one's obviously really like, oh, yippee, and the other one's like, I'm an emo, but she's very good.
Yeah.
Best episodes: Zuko alone, Series 3 finale, Series 2 finale, Series 1 finale. The one where they look at the backstories in Series 1, that's amazing.
Yeah. Let's see, what else is there for good episodes?
The one when he's got a blue mask on and he saves Aang, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, Spirit. The season 3 finale is really good because it wraps up everything
very well,
and they leave it on a cliffhanger, which apparently there's a book that finishes it
about Zuko trying to find his mom.
Yeah, I believe it's called The Search. But basically, it's basically the ending after the ending.
Yeah,
it does the story of like Zuko looking for his mom.
Mm-hmm. Does he find her in the end? Because I don't really care about spoilers.
I actually don't know. I've not really I've not read the book.
Oh, never mind then. What next then? Have you got any ideas for the best episodes or? It's hard to remember. It's really hard to remember.
To say what the best episode is because
it's like a story. It's just like the whole thing is a collective, isn't it? It's not like
a story at the end of the day. No,
yeah.
It's not episodic.
The drill episode when they're drilling in the wall is quite good.
Yeah,
I really like that one.
Yeah, there are so many really good episodes in Avatar.
Tales of Bossing Say.
Oh god, yeah. Tales of Bossing Say fucking like that's an episode that kicks you in the dick.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I give the show a 10 out of 10. You give it a 9.5. Oh yeah, worst episodes quickly. One episode I remember, The Great Divide, was just a bunch of silliness and weirdness.
I don't like The Great Divide.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those episodes that like as I said, Avatar is a really good show, but it has its faults, and that episode is one of them.
Yeah, but literally every episode, every show has a few duds. But that's natural. If every episode was amazing, you probably wouldn't get many episodes out of it, to be fair, because like Band of Brothers, nearly every episode of that was like top tier stuff, but they only got like one season. So there's not really much expansion to what's the characters and everything.
Yeah.
Compared to other shows. But yeah, 10 out of 10, you give it like a 9.5. Fair play. I guess I
would probably give it a 10. Like I said, it's a 9.5 to a 10.
Yeah, fairs. Now, let's move on to Ed, and Eddy.
All right, so I believe this is where I take the lead. I believe.
Yeah, I'll say a few tiny bits and pieces, but the floor is yours, my friend.
Yep. Okay. So Ed and Eddy. This is another one of those really good shows, but it's good in a different way to how, say, SpongeBob or Avatar is. For one, the Eds are actually the antagonists of the show, not the protagonists. I mean, because every episode is around them trying to scam the other kids.
Yeah.
And they almost never get away with it.
No.
Like almost every episode ends with them getting their shit beat.
Yeah.
So, like as I said, like they never get away. Like they almost never get away with it. There's very few episodes where they do.
But at least they deserve it, and it isn't unwarranted.
They're a bit of a thing because they sexually assault the Eds in multiple ways.
Wait, who sexually assaults the Eds? What?
The Canker Sisters.
Oh. Oh, dear.
It's one of those you don't notice as a kid, but no, they straight up are sexually assaulting the Eds.
What do they do to the Eds then?
Every scene they're in, they're force kissing them and that.
Oh.
And God knows what else. Like, yeah.
Can I just pop in with a quick thing that I do know about the show? The creator made a load of adult stuff, and he did this on a dare. Well, not a dare, sort of like, oh, do this, not you fool, but like, do this, bro. Come on, make a show for kids. And he's like, yeah, might as well do it.
Yeah. Like you can still see some of those adult elements, like
Definitely,
like show themselves in Ed and Eddy.
100%.
Yeah. So the plot of Ed and Eddy is very simple at first, but there's some really good development in the show especially with the movie. I'll get to that in a bit though. And it actually shows so there's actually some really cool elements hidden in the show that show you a bit of Eddy's character, like deep down. So there's one episode, the one where I think it's Ed's imaginary friend beats up Eddy, something like that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
I think it's that one. Basically, I don't remember what actually happened, like, if it was that episode, but there's one episode where like someone, I don't remember who, but someone grabs Eddy and Eddy starts screaming "Uncle," and that feels like a passaway line until you see the final, which is the movie, right? You haven't seen the movie, have you?
I did watch it years ago, actually, but I can barely remember. I know that Eddy's
I'll
brother.
go into that after a bit then. Eddy and Eddy. So if the show focuses on the kids of the cul-de-sac, most of them are memes. Like Rolf, like you probably have heard Rolf's voice clips.
Ed boys, what are you doing, Ed boys?
Yeah. Kevin is your standard cool kid who cares a lot about his bike and always antagonizes Eddy. Sarah is the annoying brat who no one likes. Like, God, she is an annoying character.
In a good way or a bad way?
Bad way.
Oh, so that's a weakness then for the show.
She's a spoiled, like, brat who always gets her way, and sometimes will beat up the Eds for no reason.
Oh, what a tit.
Yeah. And also, it's like, she's also got a really whiny voice. Like, she's just not a good character. You got Jimmy, who is your standard, like, really sick, like, fragile kid.
Yeah.
And yet, despite that, is actually a fucking evil genius.
Oh.
As they showed in one episode.
Is that the feminine dude, or are you on about the guy with the plank?
Feminine dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Johnny is fucking weird.
The plank guy, is that the plank?
Yeah, Johnny is the plank dude.
What a chap.
I think Johnny suffers a mental illness because I said he talks to the plank and acts like he can actually hear it. And there are actually some mental illnesses that cause you to hear a voice.
No, that's a shame.
That like talks to you. So it's entirely possible that's what Johnny suffers with, and he like distributes the voice to Plank. But it's also possible he's just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's Yeah, so there's that. As I said, Jimmy's a fucking evil genius, like I said.
Oh damn! What examples in the show are there of
There was
this?
one episode where like Jimmy like makes this giant heart in the middle of the cul-de-sac as like a friendship day, as he calls it, and the Eds kind of ruin it.
And then he goes mental.
He
Does
puts up this massive plot that frames the Eds behind a bunch of bad things that happen to the other characters, which are actually Jimmy's doing.
Oh,
And then
no.
after the Eds get like beat up by everybody, he hands the Eds to the Canker Sisters, like to do whatever with. Which again, if you remember, like the Canker Sisters are the ones who constantly sexually assault the Eds.
Yeah.
Yeah, because apparently a lot of the stuff he did, he struck a deal with the Canker Sisters to help him for it, and their payment was the Eds when it was done. Yeah, so Jimmy's one of those characters, like, he seems very fragile in that, but he's actually, like, fucking evil when he wants to be.
Yeah.
And that.
But I'm assuming it's an interesting dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, which is what makes it cool, I think. Honestly, the show as a whole is just really good. It's got some of the best slapstick and violence, which you won't see in kids' shows nowadays. But the show was really good for that. You know what I mean? Like, it was known for its slapstick.
I can remember bits of that, to be fair. Very over-the-top, crazy, violent slapstick.
Also,
you don't really...
It's like jagged design to make them stand out.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really see these horrible things happen to children in children's shows. You do see it happen in like adult shows, like South Park, Family Guy, Rick and Morty, but you don't see it in kids shows. Usually, it's older characters that have the slapstick.
It's also made funny because it's kids doing it to other kids.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, exactly. It's not like some adults coming in abusing them or whatever.
Yeah, which is part of why it works so well.
Definitely. Something that I do remember very well about it, though, there's a lot of effort put into the facial expressions with the animations. If you pause it, but if you pause it on the animations, there's almost always a different, like a massive variety of faces being pulled, and as you said, a massive variety of sound effects as well, which do make the scenes somewhat funnier because they're very comedic sound effects.
Yeah, like the classic sumo one that they use quite a lot.
Is that like a big step?
No, it's like Horora.
Oh.
It's used a lot, especially when a character is like breaking something.
Yeah.
But so we talked about the other characters in the cul-de-sac. Oh yeah, there's Gaz, who is just your standard hot girl. Every male has a crush on.
Mm-hmm.
And now let's go on to the character of the Eds.
The Eds. I'll just say quickly, from what I remember, Eddy was a massive con man, just a bit of a sleaze, isn't he? So
I'm gonna go with Ed, then Double D, and then Eddy, because Eddy's actually when you watch that, Eddy's character is actually something when you watch the movie, right?
Yeah.
So Ed is your classic. He's a lovable idiot who doesn't honestly understand when he does something wrong. He often is just kind of roped into Eddy's schemes and like doesn't really grasp what's happening. He's a dumbass, but he's also ridiculously strong. Like, Ed is actually the most dangerous person in the show. I'm gonna besides one other, which I'll get into later. Reason I say that is in one episode, Ed is in a bad mood because he has a pebble in his shoe, and literally everyone in the cul-de-sac is scared of him.
Oh, bloody hell! Even Kevin.
Yeah, all of them. Ed is also physically the strongest character in the cul-de-sac, able to throw cars and buildings. A feat literally no other character in the show replicates. Right? That said, Ed is a lovable idiot, so despite that level of physical strength, he's not a bad person or a violent one. except when he gets a pebble in his shoe, apparently. But yeah, so there's that. There's not much really to say on Ed. Ed is just Ed. He's a lot of people's favorites because he's the one that a lot of the jokes come from.
Yeah, he's just some of the things he shouts, like it's just quite funny, and he's always doing something goofy.
Yeah, like there's one line in the movie or so that was like, I don't know what he says, but sort of about like makes his armpits sweat, Eddie. Just the look Eddie gives him when he says that. I don't remember exactly what it was that like he said makes his armpits sweat. It's just the look Eddie gives him when he says it. Yeah, no, yeah, Edge is a pretty funny character. I'd say he's a bit of an idiot. He kind of just gets roped into Eddie's schemes.
But it probably makes him look like the least harmless, to be fair. I know he's physically harmful, but mentally.
Yeah, mentally he's the least harmful. Double D. Double D is the genius kid and is probably the smartest person in the cul-de-sac. But he's also a germaphobe and various other things. And like honestly, Double D's the Ed that people have that the other kids of the cul-de-sac hate the least. Like if it wasn't for Eddie's schemes and that, Double D could actually fit in if he broke away from the other Eds.
Probably.
But he stays by them because of their friendship.
You know, I thought Double D was an old woman at first.
Yeah, I can see that.
When I was a little kid, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, yeah, Double D is probably the Ed that if he broke away from the other group would actually have been accepted into the friends group in the rest of the cul-de-sac. So, yeah, that's a pretty good one, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Double D is very smart, and yeah, he's the one that often builds Eddie's contraptions for his scams and card artistry.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really too much else to Eddie, to Double D from that. Other than some of those other things, he also always speaks in really big words.
Yeah.
I know because there's one episode where they dare him to speak in words that don't have more than one syllable.
That's quite banterous.
Yeah. Yeah, now on to Eddie. Now, Eddie's character is actually pretty fucking deep. And we've learned a lot of his character from the movie.
Well, isn't it partly because he was bullshitting to everyone how cool his brother was, and his brother just turns out to be a bum?
I'll get into that in a bit, because this is actually really good development.
Oh,
so
cool.
At first, Eddie seems like your stereotypical selfish conman who wants to scam everybody out of money for jawbreakers and other things. And it always seems selfish or out for himself. And often uses Ed and Double D for his schemes. But as we learned from the movie, Eddie is also a bit psychologically hurt. So remember I mentioned earlier, there's a bit where Eddie screams "Uncle" when someone grabs him. We find out that that's because of trauma from his brother.
Right, what bit? Sorry.
So remember I mentioned that Eddie has in one of the episodes, Eddie had a thing where he got grabbed by someone. I don't know if it was Ed or by Ed's imaginary friend, and he screams "Uncle."
Oh, okay.
It's grabbed. We find out that the reason that was because of Eddie's trauma from his brother. Eddie's brother had a habit of playing a game called Uncle, which basically consisted of him severely harming Eddie. Right? In multiple ways.
Oh, man.
We learned this from the movie so I'll get to the movie plot in a bit, where he literally just starts twisting Eddie's ankle repeatedly. And when Eddie's screaming "Uncle," he acts like he can't hear him.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's the like you see like a lot of the kids in the cul-de-sac have a fear of Eddie's brother, but you quickly learn after meeting Eddie's brother in the movie that Eddy probably got it the worst and the most often from him.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and we also find out from the end of the movie that a lot of Eddie's thing is he just wanted to be accepted
Hmm.
by everyone else.
So those schemes are a way of him trying to socialise with people and have a
Yeah.
laugh, sort of.
Yeah, he just wanted to be accepted by everyone.
They do get accepted in the end, though, don't they? They get
Yeah,
picked
they
up,
do.
and everyone's like,
As a quote from Eddy that like this is Eddie's quote from the end of the movie, and it's really good. I made everything up. Everything I said about my brother was a lie. I thought I thought if people like thought he was something else, they would think I was cool. Maybe even like me. But boy, was I wrong.
yeah,
When will I ever learn Double D? Like I said, like Eddie's main thing is he just wanted people to like him.
yeah.
It's like I said, Eddie's actually got a really good character when you look at it past his scheming.
Sounds like it, man. I mean, it is nice that I'm guessing after the kids finally accepted him and realised that he's an all right, well, that all the Eds are all right, that he, fit in and things went well.
Yeah.
That is a good way to end it, though. Them becoming accepted by all the other people in the cul-de-sac. That is a really good way to end it.
So I'm going to get on to the plot of the movie now, if that's all right.
Yeah, no problem.
The plot like how we did the plot for SpongeBob movie and that. So in the Ed and Eddy movie, the Big Picture Show, as it's called, which is also the finale, the Eds pulled a scam that was incredibly bad. Now, we don't see what scam they did. We only see the aftermath, right? And they leave it up to our imagination of what they did. All we know is it wasn't good. Because everybody in the cul-de-sac is after them, and and a lot worse than the other times. Right? And basically it leads to Ed and Eddy fleeing the cul-de-sac to get away from the other kids.
Yeah.
On that journey, Eddy comes up with the idea of if they go find his brother, he could give them sanctuary away from like where the kids can't get them, since the other kids are afraid of Eddy's brother. So that leads to that journey of most of the movie is them trying to find where Eddy's brother is, whilst the kids are after them, and the Kanker sisters by extension are after the other kids because the other kids are after the Eds.
Yeah.
It eventually culminates with all of them arriving at this theme park where Eddy's brother lives.
Okay.
When they get there and we see Eddy's brother for the first time, Eddy's brother does say he will help them out, right? Because at this point we still think Eddy's brother is the guy that Eddy keeps saying he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then Eddy's brother says, says, "How about for old time's sake, let's play Uncle?" Where we then proceed to see him really brutally harm Eddy in front of everyone from the cul-de-sac. And none of the other kids have the guts to step up to him for what he's doing. Literally, all of them are watching this and are horrified by what he's doing to Eddy, and none of them have the guts to step up to him. And funny enough, Kevin's the first one to actually call Eddy's brother out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so Rolf throws Kevin forward because Rolf. And then Kevin's actually calls Eddy's brother out for it. Which again is pretty good when you think that Kevin's the one that antagonizes Eddy the most in the series.
Yeah.
After Kevin calls Eddy's brother out, the other kids stand by him as well. And then Ed throws a door at Eddie's brother when he's not looking,
Oh, cool.
and knocks him out.
Fair play.
Afterwards, Double D goes to see if Eddie's okay, and that's when Eddie gives his speech about like everything he said about his brother was a lie. He just wanted people to like him.
Yeah.
After that, the kids accept Eddie and the other Eds, and that. Yeah, no, Eddie and Eddie's Big Picture Show, really good movie, and it caps off the series well, and it really gives us a good insight to Eddie's character.
Yeah.
Sitting up to that point, we just see Eddie as the conman, and it's another thing because there are actually people out there who feel like they have to do these extreme things just to be welcomed. You know.
It's good how, from what I've seen, majority of Ed, Ed, and Eddy is in the cul-de-sac, really, and so it's cool how they can make all these stories just out of one location. While the other two, I'm not saying Ed, and Eddy is better because I don't know enough about it to say if it's better than SpongeBob and Airbender. But SpongeBob and Airbender aren't quite as practical because they have like a million different locations, don't they, within the universe?
Yeah, Ed and Eddy takes place in the same location.
Which that is practical for an animation budget, and it's also really like a low. I'm not saying it's low budget, but it saves money and time, and also they make good stories out of it. I'm assuming.
Yeah. So, where I would rank Ed and Eddy, in terms of slapstick and comedy, I would say it's better than SpongeBob in terms of actual comedy slapstick. SpongeBob is still probably a better overall show. But in terms of like the comedy slapstick aspect, I would say Ed and Eddy beats it out.
SpongeBob seems a lot more wordy, while Ed and Eddy seems a lot more all the crazy things that are happening.
SpongeBob's more wordy, whilst Ed and Eddy is more physical, like representation.
Yeah.
Though there are a few jokes that are in there that are quite good. That like there's a few innuendos, obviously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, and honestly, most of the characters in Ed and Eddy are probably weaker than the ones in SpongeBob, except for Eddy.
Yeah.
But off what I just gave you guys there, like I would say in terms of character, Eddy is probably the best character in the show once you know him. In terms of like actual character development.
Yeah.
But again, that's mostly because of the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, Eddy just stays as this asshole like conman. I would say a lot of his development comes from the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
What would you give it out of 10 then? For you,
I gave SpongeBob an 8. I want to say Ed and Eddy probably gets an 8 or a 7.
Fairs.
Because SpongeBob beats it out in a lot of aspects. But Ed and Eddy does have better comedy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, the show lives and dies by its slapstick.
That's fair. Thing is, right, SpongeBob first 3 seasons, from what I've seen, is a million times better than anything I've seen from Ed, and Eddy. But SpongeBob after season 4, Ed, and Eddy wipes the floor with it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Definitely.
And if I had to go, if someone said to me, you either have to watch every single SpongeBob episode or all the Ed, and Eddy stuff, I'd definitely go for the Ed, and Eddy stuff. But if it's the first 3 seasons, obviously I'd look. Yeah, go back and watch the first 3 seasons of SpongeBob.
I went back and watched the first 3 seasons the other day, actually, of SpongeBob.
Nice, man.
Because lockdown is a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
What episodes have you been watching?
I watched literally the entirety of season 1 to 3 and the movie.
Oh, in like a few days?
Yeah, well, I had nothing better to do, so I binged it.
Fair play, man.
Yeah, I mean,
awesome.
you gotta think of something for lockdown. May as well binge a series.
Yeah.
I haven't seen all the episodes because I'm not watching past season 3 with SpongeBob.
Oh yeah, that'd be that. I mean, if you like it, fair play to you. But if that, I wouldn't recommend that to anyone.
Yeah, like it really gets dumbed down after a point, and it's really
sort of. I know we've already reviewed SpongeBob just like X amount of minutes ago, like 30 minutes ago or whatever. But it seems like the old episodes are.
The old episodes are timeless.
Yeah, no. But I was gonna say, right, they act more how real people do. But in the later episodes, it's more like they act like fish, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it just is a bit shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And it isn't really applicable to real life. I know there are some media where fish act like fish, like bloody Finding Nemo, but it's SpongeBob is totally different. These fish have legs and hands and all that jazz.
Fish.
Yeah. Well,
like Finding Nemo, the reason it works there is because they are straight up fish.
Exactly. And obviously you've got media where it doesn't work at all, like Shark Tale.
Oh god, Shark Tale. That one is like I remember watching Shark Tale a long time ago and liking it, but looking back at it now, I'm like, this is a piece of shit.
Yeah, I suppose when you're a kid, comedy's dumbed down a lot more.
Yeah. Indeed. Like, it relied a lot on, like, pop culture references and, like, other movies that are straight up just better.
Mm-hmm. And those do not age well at all.
They don't. Shark Tale as a movie in whole does not age well.
I mean, if you want to look at something where pop culture does age well, probably Shrek and Shrek 2, especially Shrek 2. Like, remember the Far Book scene?
Great. Like,
the Far Book scene.
Culture references, but they picked the references that would last.
Yeah, exactly. And
they didn't just use any memorable quote like Shark Tale did.
Yeah. I hate it when they have to just spam out film references. Sometimes it's so shit it's funny, like in Madagascar 1, where they're just spamming out film references and you're just like, this is so ridiculous.
Yeah, but they're clever with how they do it.
Yeah.
Shark Tale, literally during the fight between Oscar and Lenny, Oscar just starts spouting out a bunch of references with no context.
Are you not entertained?
You can't handle the truth.
That was stupid.
You have me at hello.
What's the you have me at hello bit?
I don't know.
Oh. But, yeah, actually, thinking about it, Madagascar do it more cleverly, but it's still not good. I do prefer, like, actual jokes to just references 24/7.
Madagascar 1 is a meh movie to me. It's alright. Madagascar 2, I think, is pretty good.
Yeah, and then 3 is just a bit...
3 is one of those, it's more, like, comedic, but using a circus theme.
Yeah.
I think, in terms of the Madagascar trilogy, the second one's probably the best one.
Yeah, definitely, mainly because of the comedy, but yeah.
Well, also, like, we had Alex versus the old lady.
Yeah. But I guess we can wrap up there nicely then. Any final messages or thoughts?
Not that I can think of. What TV shows are we thinking of reviewing for the next podcast? Give people something to look forward to, I guess.
I do want to leave doing this for a little bit because I've got other podcasts I have planned. I know it's sort of like, we've only just started, but before we was doing them every week and listening to some of them back, I feel like they could have, if we left the space of time, we wouldn't have been as burnt out and thinking of stuff every single week. So if we leave it a bit longer, like just longer than we did before, I think we can, it'll be, because this one was probably the best 3 reviews we've ever done. I think so anyway.
Yeah, it's more laid back than doing it weekly, I agree.
Yeah, so whenever, next shows I was thinking of, probably Family Guy, Rick and Morty, what's one that you know loads about?
Let's see.
That I probably don't, but it'd be cool if it was like an adult one, so it would match in with those 3.
Yeah, I get that. We could do either South Park or Simpsons.
Might as well go.
Morty and Family Guy, may as well throw one of those 2 in there.
Yeah, South Park definitely, because Simpsons is a lot more kid friendly, while South Park is just...
Yeah, well, early Simpsons was like actually still pretty fucking adult. It's more so like later on they start dumbing down Homer and that.
Yeah,
it's like old Simpsons. There was a straight up a bit where Homer was going to commit suicide.
Oh shit! Bloody hell!
Yeah, like there's a bit where he's fired from his job, can't support his family, so he literally goes to a bridge with a boulder ready to jump.
Oh man!
And Marge and them stop him.
That's absolutely
Yeah, so,
awful.
as I said, old school Simpsons was still pretty fucking adult.
I guess that would be more of a 12 plus though, while South Park and Rick
South
and
Park also
15.
is.
Yeah.
I think that's the point of South Park, is that it doesn't pull any punches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll do South Park, Rick and Morty, and Family Guy.
So everyone, expect to see the next one in, I don't know, 3 weeks to like 3-4 weeks or a month. Well, a month is a 4 week or 2 months. I don't know, whenever we feel like it.
Point.
Huh?
At some point.
Yeah, at some point, yeah. There's no rush for this sort of thing, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, we could wait a year. We wouldn't, but you know.
But at the same time, like, I've got to look at free time I have as well, because
Exactly,
I do
man.
and shit.
1,000,000%. I mean, your streams. Actually, as we're just talking a load of random stuff now, how are you feeling about streaming? Are you still enjoying it, or is it gone?
Yeah, it's having a lot of fun. I do have some days where I struggle with motivation to sit down and do it, but once I get started, I enjoy it.
That's sick.
It's just motivation shit I struggle with, but that's not so much down to the streaming and more just the mental stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're all different, you know. We've all had different lives, been through different things. Things affect people differently. Like, I'm not saying like because you're demotivated it makes you mentally weak, but things affect people differently. A fighter could get punched in the face, and obviously it's not going to affect them that much. But if a normal person gets punched in the face, they might go down or get seriously hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sort of what I mean.
Yeah, you have to explain yourself to me, man. I get it.
Yeah, sound man. Is there anything about the streams that you're not enjoying as much out of interest? Or?
There's nothing really that I don't enjoy. It's one of those, I just play what I want.
Oh, cool.
Like I play what I want for the fun of it. Funny enough, this is gonna sound weird, but I don't actually want a big viewer base.
Never.
No, because I feel like once my viewer base gets to a certain size, streaming becomes more of a job than a hobby, and then the passion starts to go.
But I suppose if you do it so you just keep your own schedule, you might be all right though.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, you look at some of these people who stream for like fucking 8 hours a day, 5 days of the week. There's no passion left in it for them.
Yeah, I mean, there ain't many streamers I see that do that. Really, I guess I need to scour to see that. The ones I
healthy streaming pattern, but they do it because it pays the bills.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you look at someone like Brown Man, he just plays whatever he plays story games the majority of the time, and he has fun doing it. The only problem,
That's kind of what I fall into. I find myself playing more story based stuff than single player, not multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, but the thing is, he can make a decent living off that. I don't think 8 hours is that essential if you've got enough skill and you play the right game.
But at the same time, it is also harder to do stuff like that when you're a small streamer, because if the chat isn't active, you have to talk to yourself for up to how many hours.
True.
Well, if you have an active chat, you can at least turn the chat to start up a conversation.
Yeah, because like when I joined the streams before, I'm only because sometimes I've just joined and not said anything because I don't see the point of saying stuff when I can't think of anything to say. Then I think that's a bit weird. But when I have something to say, I do like saying it. And I see, Scott's bouncing off this and this and this and this. But then when the chat, I don't usually see when the chat's absolutely dead and you're having to come up with loads of stuff. Yeah,
if you look back at some of my highlights and find the ones that the stream, like this chat is dead, it's very fucking difficult to talk because I can't just bounce off of people in chat.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, no, I mostly do the streaming for fun at the end of the day.
That is the main thing.
Yeah, I don't want it to turn into a job because I feel like if it does, I'm gonna lose the passion. But
Can I tell you one thing really quick? I know I'm keeping this going, but I'm just enjoying it for, witty banter. But I did actually mention this on a live stream, right? There was this dude who started a Twitch, brought a stream deck, camera, everything, brilliant setup. And he was saying, if I get the followers, I'll continue doing this. And then I was putting in the comments, yeah, it should be about if you enjoy. I didn't say this in a dickhead way. I just was like, I think the most important thing is if you enjoy yourself, man. And
Yeah.
then he was like, well, if you haven't got the followers, what's the point? And I'm like, yeah, but even if you get the followers, if you're not enjoying it, that isn't going to produce long-term enjoyment or longevity to your streams. And he gave up within like a week anyway.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who give up streaming are trying to do it and get a bunch of people and realize that it's a lot harder to do that than it seems. I mostly started streaming so because I like to play games and I feel like I have a good energy.
Yeah.
And I like to share my gameplay with people.
Yeah. And the thing is with you, compared to a lot of people I know who game, there's a lot of people. First off, there's people who just play games that they're only good at, which is very boring. And that isn't many games because, like, if you go from playing, I don't know, Overwatch to something like Battlefield or Rainbow Six Siege, you're not really going to be. It's a totally different game. So unless you're a natural, you're going to struggle. Yeah, well, you play like
going from shooter to a shooter.
I know, but they're different. Overwatch is like you're playing as characters, and the characters have different abilities. While Rainbow Six Siege, you're on teams and you have to infiltrate a building, and it takes so much skill.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to keep it. I try to keep it varied. I play a good variety, I think.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you my goal for streaming quickly when I do it one day. I'm not going to do much because I know you have said before, like, oh, you need to, if you want to get anywhere with it, you need to push stuff out. But literally, I don't really care about getting anywhere with it.
Yeah, I just want, mostly if you're trying to get big for a job.
Yeah.
You need to push stuff out regularly. I keep to a schedule of just 3 days because then I'm not overworking myself and I don't lose the passion. I feel like that's why my streams are as good as people tell me they are, is because I still have that passion in it.
That is good stuff. But my goal is right. Once in a while, just stream a game or a trilogy. So like the first games I want to stream is like either the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, then Crash 4 and CTR, and then just leave it for like a month or two or weeks, depending on how I feel. And then after that, the Halo trilogy, and then maybe Halo Reach and ODST, see how I feel, and then leave it for a month. So that's sort of what I want to do. I won't get big. There's a low chance of getting big off that. Insanely low chance, but it's just for a laugh.
If you want to get big, you pick the game that's most popular at the moment and stream on a day the big streamers aren't streaming it.
Yeah,
you're more likely to pull in viewers that way. That's if you're trying to do it to get big and make money. Is you pick a game that's currently popular, and you play it on a day a big streamer isn't streaming it. Because if you try that and you stream on the same day a big streamer is, you're not like all of yours are going to be in his stream, not yours. You know what I mean?
Exactly, man. But you know, you was talking about not wanting a big fan base. I can see the main disadvantage with having a big fan base is that I know you like talking to the chat, but that you can't really read anything anyone's saying.
It's hard to read what's going on in chat when you've got a big fan base because
exactly.
It's just an avalanche of messages.
Yeah, just spam. So like if someone says, you'll probably have like one interesting comment, then 50 just, oh, hello, blah, 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 blah.
You'll get 50 random shit that buries the good comment.
Yeah, and then when you go on the chat to pick a comment, you're probably going to pick the random shit accidentally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it's streaming's fun. It is hard and it is very mentally draining.
Yeah.
You're multitasking a lot. Like you got to play the game and be decent. You got to constantly monitor the chat at the same time, and you need to be talking almost the entire time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
man.
Very mentally taxing doing all of that at the same time the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, it does depend how you take it, though, because there's this one dude I was watching who was playing League of Legends, and he was just sitting there playing League of Legends with his camera, and he was just like...
Yeah.
And he rarely talked. So it does. You can make it easier if you want, but if you want to entertain people...
Is that really interesting to just watch a guy play League of Legends and have him not say a word?
Exactly.
Like, I think a lot of reason people like streams is the interaction with the person playing.
Exactly.
Like having them talk to the chat like you're actually there with them as well as play the game. Plus seeing person play a story game that you may have played, you see a completely different perspective to it. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I've found myself playing more story-based games than the multiplayer ones recently. Is people get my own unique perspective on the game.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's so
Overwatch,
much.
you just see me go into games and either suck or win.
It's just so much easier to react to things as well if you
Yeah,
just like just react to story and things that are going on. And it's easier to be good at campaigns. It's harder to be good at multiplayer because you're always going to have that sweat with no life who just
you
pops
get
up
that
the
sweat who
game.
plays ranked every day of the week for like 9 hours. He knows
Yeah,
the game inside and out, and he just stomps the pub lobby.
yeah. To be fair though, I would love to see you play a game. I know you've played games that take a lot of skill, but a game like Rainbow Six Siege, just like as a one-off, if it was like in
Yeah,
a bundle.
I'm probably not going to pick Rainbow Six Siege up anytime soon, mostly because it's Ubisoft, and
Oh
at the moment
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
Oh no,
supporting them. I'm not going to go into the drama behind Ubisoft here. If
yeah.
anyone
It's
wants
too.
to hear about it, you can hear me rant about it on one of my Doom streams, or you can look it up yourself.
Yeah,
But I'm
please
not
just watch
going
Scott's
to.
stream because I don't want to give them any anything on this channel after that. After
Yeah,
what I found out.
I think it was my second Doom stream. I went into a full-on rant about Ubisoft in chat.
Yeah, I was very disgusted.
Yeah, it's not good once you hear what's going on there. So you can
Yeah,
either look it up yourself, or if you want a proper thing, you can just hear my rant on Doom.
but Scott, if it's ever free, I would recommend picking it up because it takes a load of skill and it'd be
Oh
cool
yeah,
to
if
see
it's
how you
free,
react.
I'll probably pick it up, but I am not giving Ubisoft money until they get their shit together.
Yeah, or some new people take over and actually don't
Yeah,
do the bad things
if,
that they
if
were doing.
that happens, I'll gladly pick it up. Pick
That'd
it
be
up.
epic.
But
Don't bother.
if they haven't done that or they haven't got their shit together, they are not getting a cent out of me.
Yeah, yeah. Don't bother with any other Rainbow game because there a lot of the fans are like, oh, I don't like Six Siege because blah 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 blah. It's different, it's different. But Siege, in my opinion, is the best. And for someone to see someone play, it's probably the most fun, especially a new person who's got quite a bit of skill at a variety of games.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed with first-person shooter games is the fan bases tend to be really toxic and really competitive.
Yeah, yeah, they do, especially clans in it.
Yeah, that's just what happens. It's like the toxic fan base somewhat takes it out of the game because they're trying to make it less fun for everyone else.
Thing is, all I will say though,
People out there who their main goal when they pick up a game is to make it as least fun as they physically can for everyone else playing.
bro, is that Rainbow, that's usually with the latest, newest games. Rainbow Six Siege came out in 2015. There's still some toxic sweats, but yeah,
Yeah, but you're going to get that in every game. No game has a
true.
perfect fan base. You're going to
Very
get the
true.
toxic player at least once or twice.
1,000,000%.
And then you
Well,
got Legends, who I'm pretty sure 99.9% of the fan base is a toxic sweat.
sad days.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can wrap up nicely there. Hopefully you've enjoyed these reviews and a big random conversation at the end. Oh yeah, that stream I was telling you about. I'm not 1,000,000% sure that he gave up. Maybe things came up in his life and he was really busy. But I'm just assuming that because he didn't put anything on his Twitch. Because when you took a break, you said you did a 2-minute video stream saying, I'm taking a break. So if he did have an intention of coming back, he should do that. Because otherwise, you're just going to assume they gave up.
That's one thing I actually will say for anyone blitzing this who thinks about picking up streaming. If you're gonna take a break for personal reasons or whatever, make sure you inform people. Because if you just take a break without saying anything, you're gonna lose your viewers because they're gonna assume you quit.
Yeah.
And then you're all gonna get some people who will just leave anyway. Like when I went on my 2 week break to sort out stuff personally, I lost like 5 viewers.
Well, followers, yeah.
Yeah, I lost 5 followers.
But
Like,
you've gained them back though.
I managed to gain some of them back, which is good.
I think you're on 31 now, which is
Yeah.
pretty decent.
Yeah, I am. Which I said I've been working hard for it, and
Yeah.
I don't take breaks that often, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's good to have any sort of schedule, in my opinion. Just routine, that's
Yeah.
the good thing. Just some sort of routine.
Yeah, I think having a set schedule and time definitely has helped me keep up with it.
Yeah, because you're thinking to yourself like, I've got to do this at X time today. I've got to do this at this time. I've got to do this at this time.
When I started streaming, I was just kind of streaming any old day I felt like. And it wasn't until after I set a point, I was like, all right, I'm setting a fucking schedule. Because it allowed me to keep to it easier. For sure.
Yeah, man.
And we
Well,
should probably round this podcast up. We're approaching the 2 hour.
yeah. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching. See ya. Watch Scott's Twitch. I'll put it in the description. Check it out. See ya.
See ya.